Hello gamers, I'm Encasio, and in this video I would like to talk about the recent update BDO just had called The Land of Morning Light. This is a major update the size of an expansion for most other MMOs, and it brings a whole new zone that has both elements that expand on previous content, and it also has its own unique content. Since I don't like beating around the bush, I'm going to say it at the very beginning. This latest update is absolutely amazing, and for me it has improved my perception of BDO quite a bit. In recent years, BDO has turned into one of my favorite MMORPGs, and from my point of view, it is the MMORPG that has changed the most, while not compromising on the important things, but changing the things that were clearly bad for the game. What I mean by this is that they made a vast amount of changes and updates to various systems that ended up completely changing the feel of the game. When BDO released, the devs created various systems that created problems for the players, like inventory space, weight limit, pets, and then proceeded to sell the solution in the cash shop. This is no longer the case. The problems in the game have been fixed, effectively changing the system from being a pay to remove an inconvenience to pay for extra convenience, giving the ability for players to play and enjoy the game without spending any money. But as we've discussed many times on the channel, the payment model is not the most important thing, and BDO changed in other aspects too. They continuously update everything in-game, making sure that it keeps up with the times, from abilities to various systems. Over the years, BDO has proven to be one of the very few MMORPGs where the developers are actively trying their best to update everything about their game so it looks and plays like a recently released MMO. At the same time, maintaining the advantage MMORPGs gain over time, and that is the vast amount of content. When discussing BDO, I think it's vitally important to mention that this is not your typical MMO, and coming it with a typical theme park mentality will only lead to disappointment. Black Desert is a sandbox MMORPG about the journey, the experiences you have while playing it, finding joy in the things you choose to do, and more importantly, it's a game that tries to provide activities for everyone with a focus on the casual player base. What this means is that a lot of activities that you can do in BDO are daily activities that are most effective if you choose to play a couple of hours a day, after which you will see diminishing returns. I think it's important to understand this difference between BDO and other MMOs. In my opinion, the best comparison is to say that BDO is a marathon, while the typical theme park MMOs are sprints. So, if you choose to play BDO, I think it's important to understand that the ultimate goal is not important in this game. The journey towards that goal is where your focus should be, and finding joy in this journey. However, this is not a review of BDO, but a video about the latest update. So I just wanted to say a few words about BDO before we get into what this update brings, because maybe some of you have not played BDO in a while, or maybe never tried it before. So it is important to have the right mindset and expectations when deciding to pick up this game. I also wanted to take a moment to thank all the returning subscribers for being here. Thank you very much. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please consider dropping a like and subscribing if you enjoy my content. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's talk about this new and amazing update and what you can expect from it. The first thing you need to know is that this update is Korean themed, and as such, content you can experience in this new continent will have real-life Korean influences. This is most evident in the main story quest, which is of exceptional quality. They have outdone themselves maybe the most in this aspect. I always thought the story in BDO was quite decent. It gets very dark and twisted at times, and personally I quite enjoy a realistic approach to stories. However, in the past it was very poorly delivered, which stopped most people from bothering with it. In recent years, they have come a long way, having fully voice-acted questlines and providing a bit of a lighter approach to these dark stories. All this has culminated in this latest expansion, in which the story is every bit as good as some of the best stories in the MMORPG genre. This chapter of the main quest is divided into different tales, and true to the RPG element, you will be able to make choices which will affect the outcome of some of these tales. Don't expect BioWare level of choice. They are simple choices, but they do have an impact on the outcome of some of these tales. And you will be able to complete the story again with a different character if you want to explore some of the other choices. Something that I have noticed in the story is that if you are playing a class that originates from this area, the game will sometimes acknowledge this, and personally I thought it was a very nice touch. But maybe you are one of those gamers that plays RPGs and has no interest in the story, which I personally find a bit strange. It's like playing a shooter and having no interest in aiming. But I've seen a decent amount of people that do not care about the story, and regardless if you do or do not, there are a lot of other things to explore here. If you are familiar with BDO in the past, you would know that a big part of the game was centered around mindlessly grinding mobs. This has changed in the past few years. We have seen mechanics being implemented in grind spots, and the game even has dungeons now. But none of this compares to the new challenging content this update brings. In this update you will unlock 9 bosses. They come in different difficulties called calamities, from 1 to 10. Currently there are 7 available difficulties. And as the difficulty gets higher, so do the mechanics. Sometimes in the future the last 3 difficulties will be made available, but they are already very challenging and extremely difficult. Difficulty 7 has only been completed by a handful of people for each class. You might be worried, since BDO is an MMO and gear is usually important in MMOs, and you might think that as a result, this content might not be available for you if you are a new or returning player. And luckily, that is not the case. This content is available for everyone, and your previous gear only counts for 10% of your stats. While some benefits like account-wide horizontal progression will help, these new challenges have their own system, and this is done through a light orb system that provides you with 90% of your stats. So regardless if you are an existing player or a new one, you will be able to enjoy this content. This is one of the main reasons why I highly recommend this update. However, maybe you are a life skilling player that plays the game for one or more of the varied life skills available. It is what a decent amount of people do, and this update expands on that too. For some life skills like fishing and capturing horses, the game had minigames. The Gathering did not, and this update brings a lot of varied minigames. You will no longer just do life skills and wait for a casting bar to fill up. You will be able to actively do a variety of minigames that will use more energy and will provide extra resources based on your performance in these minigames. I've been told this update has been a blast for Lifeskillers, and it is very much appreciated. The horizontal progression element of the game that are known as adventure logs also saw new entries. This will require you to collect various collectibles in the open world and perform certain tasks in the new continent. While they might not be on the same level as Guild Wars 2 or Lost Ark, there is some horizontal progression for those interested in it. The last thing I want to mention is the vertical progression elements. As I said previously, BDO is a marathon, but even in a game like BDO, there is a need for some vertical progression. What BDO does better than any other MMO is that it manages to bring in new vertical progression elements without invalidating the previous progression. The time you spend in BDO will always have value. And for me, personally, this is extremely important. I dislike it profoundly when MMOs delete all my progress with each expansion, and make it so that all the time that I put in the game means nothing. This does not happen in BDO. That being said, for the players that are towards endgame, this update brought new gloves, the third piece of the Obliterating God armor, new Deboreka earring, a new belt for PvP, and new crystals. And for those interested in life skills, it brought a new sniper rifle and a new ship. This is just a quick rundown of what this major update brought. Of course, there will be smaller things that I haven't mentioned, such as the new houses. But I think those are specific elements that can be discovered by those that want to explore them. In conclusion, I believe this is a wonderful update for BDO, and personally this raises BDO in my eyes from an 8 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. And as a result, I can highly recommend it to everyone that enjoys MMORPGs. while BDO still has some problems, such as group content being limited to some grind spots, the dungeons and PvP, or despite having such a wonderful mount system, the only viable mounts are crappy horses. But even with these problems, in my opinion, it is without a doubt one of the best MMORPGs that you can play right now. What do you personally think of BDO? Will this update make you come back to the game, or give it a try if you haven't before? Let me know in the comment section below. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to support me in this hobby of mine. See you in the next one, gamers.